morning, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Coffee and Contemplation brought to you by Spotlight Recovery. I'm your host, Lucas. It is March 4th, and we're moving on from daily reflections. I figured third time was the charm. This one today is from Easy Does It, a book of daily 12-step meditations, and the topic is courage, as you saw in the header there. Courage that's a topic that stands out for me a lot, just in general. It's been a key thing I've always either struggled with or really tried to work on and grow in myself. So the topic resonates with me. I hope it resonates with you too. So let's pop it up here and let's get into it. Courage. The greatest test of courage on earth is to bear defeat without losing heart. From Robert Greene Ingersoll. One word often heard in group discussions is will. Yet the will to do something cannot exist without the action required to do it. And that takes courage. It is courage that turns possibilities into realities and assures us that little in life is truly impossible. Experience teaches us that courage keeps our active emotions under control. When courage guides our efforts, we can be sure that we will not only be capable of accomplishing success, but we will be worthy of it. We learn that courage is not recklessness, it is common sense. When we know that a goal is worth going for, courage has judgment and carefulness as allies, even though we may be moving against the tide of popular opinion or belief. I'm overcoming my fears about setting and working toward goals. It helps me to remember courage is fear that has said its prayers. This inspiration is from Easy Does It, a book of daily 12-step meditations. Yeah, so it's funny. I resonate with the topic. I like some of the examples and the points they put in it, and for whatever reason, maybe just because I use different language and words for it all, I'm actually having a hard time resonating a bunch with this one. That's really funny. I did not think that was going to happen, but it is. But we're just going to roll with it and see how this goes, basically. I like the opening line is neat. The greatest test of courage on earth is to bear defeat without losing heart. So that connects for me with courage and just taking action and taking leaps of faith in general, because that's always the biggest fear out of it is, what if I fail? What if I try to do something and then it doesn't work out anyway? Then what? Then what was the point? Then I'm defeated. Then I look like a loser. All these what ifs and all of that stuff. And a lot of times also I feel people will use the terms fearless and being courageous interchangeably, and then they're not. I don't think they are. Being fearless, you're doing something with no fear of it. Courage is acting in the presence of fear. That's a definition that I love of it. And that's why it connects with me so much just in general. It's such a big thing for recovery, I feel, is because a lot of addicts, we are typically very scared. We are typically very scared, and therefore then will not act, hide, avoid, or then we are when we are acting what could be seen as fearlessly. Really, it's usually a lot more recklessly, where we just try to completely override whatever fear we are feeling to do something, to accomplish some goal, to push through this feeling or emotion, or to get in or out of a situation. Courage, typically for people in full-blown addiction, that's not the behavior that we are engaging in, you know? And it speaks about it later on in the reflection, that we learn that courage is not recklessness. So I think there's a very important distinction in them. And until I was really developing a life in recovery and also growing up too, I think it was the two of them kind of helped me understand that and really see that difference. And so anyway, now in the paragraphs and just what they're writing here, talk about will. The will to do something can't exist without the action. Action requires courage. So another thing too with this is the concept of faith, the concept of a support system. You know, that was another big one for me too, was I either always felt so alone in addiction or acted so alone, think it was up to me, I had to do things. And the other part of it too, which is really funny, and I spoke about this in another reflection video recently, was that because I always wanted things my way, I wanted things to be done my way, a certain way, in order to get my wants achieved. I would then push everybody else away, and then I would think I have to do this myself. Really, it was just because I was being a selfish prick, and if things weren't going to go exactly the way King Lukey wanted it, then I wasn't going to have it. So fuck y'all and get out of here. I'm just going to do this by myself. So it was this really funny dichotomy where I would act and think like that, yet be scared out of my mind and think there's no way I can actually accomplish this or do it. So how the hell's that going to happen? It was just this total torturous space that I lived in addiction, and that was the mindset. So in recovery and trying to build a sense of courage, I'm really trying to change all of that and have a support system, have friends both in and outside of recovery to lean on, hopefully family, faith, the concept of a higher power, loving guidance. So then when I know, so I can know if I want to muster up courage to do something and take that leap, take that action, no matter what happens, I'm going to be okay. Right? So back with that opening line that it talks about as bearing defeat without losing heart. I don't have a lot of that in myself to be able to do that by myself. I need God to help me get there. I need God to have my back. I need other people to have my back. And this is like a muscle I need to work at and develop. You know, I don't have all of these things by myself. I just don't. I'm not made out of that. So I need that support and help in order to be able to do it. And that really makes a huge difference. And then that's what builds me into becoming that. That's what helps me exercise that muscle, learn how to do these things. And then I start building a track record of this life experience. So then when that's happened repeatedly, I now have so much proof of the fact that I've still been okay. Things have still worked out. I then have been able to be courageous again in another situation to then work towards something so it's all worked out. I'm at the point now where I'm a pretty big fan of failure, honestly, because I learn from it, you know, and that's like one of my favorite questions is if you fail at something, but you learn out of it, you grow, you make changes, you adapt, does failure really exist? That's a fun question. There's food for thought for you. There's like your bonus topic. Courage and does failure exist? There you go. So I'll throw that one out there too. I love the ending line in that first main paragraph too. Experience teaches us that courage keeps our active emotions under control. That is a huge one for me because I'm a wildly emotional person, and that's another big contributor as to why I used so much. And emotional regulation is something I'll have to work at my whole life. And so how this ties simply is if there's a situation I have to face or I want to face, that makes me scared. I am now fearful. There's my emotion. What's my typical fear reaction? Oh God. So then if that gets big and out of control, right? That's saying courage keeps our active emotions under control. So I can see the situation, be scared about it happening, and then muster up, ask for, work for, pray for some courage to try to help moderate and regulate that emotional response. Really important for me because that directly affects my peace and my state of mind, my serenity, something else we just talked about recently. And it's also really important for everybody else in arm's reach, anyone around, anybody who's going to be involved in that situation, because then my emotional dysregulation affects them too. And then I have to make amends for it later, and then that sucks. I hate doing that. Oh, so there's all of those points. Second paragraph. When courage guides our efforts, we can be sure that we will not only be capable of accomplishing success, we will be worthy of it. I'm on the fence on that stuff. I'm on the fence of it or not because if I tell myself I'm worthy, I act courageously, and then it still doesn't work out, then my faith and my mindset's going to go to shit really fast, right? Because I'm also a believer of God. Nothing happens in God's world by mistake. And I've learned through acting in active addiction, I can't self-will my way through life and make things happen my way or the way that I want. So therefore, if I don't take that route and I take this other route instead and it doesn't work, let's say it doesn't work, but if I know I acted in courage, I did everything I possibly could, like that was just and good and ethical, and it still didn't work, then it wasn't meant to work out. So then what now? I'm not worthy of that? Or I'm worthy of the thing later? Like it just, I don't know, man. The concept of worthiness, of deserving, I'm not a big fan of these words too much, just because they can get too closely tied to my ego or my sense of self-worth. And deep inside, I'm still that scared little boy. So then if I'm feeling I'm not worth it, oh man, that can shatter my reality really fast. So I don't know. I feel that's a slippery slope on that one. So not too big on that. But the fact that we could be capable of accomplishing success via acting in courage, absolutely. That's the only way to do it. So I really like that take out of that. I think that's really important. And then I like how it breaks it down a bit. Like I was saying before, courage is not recklessness. It's common sense. So even though I'm fearful of a situation, let's say I have put time in to understand it and research it, so I know what I'm walking into now. So I can have a little more courage because I understand. I'm applying some more common sense because I've researched on it. I'm not acting recklessly in it or attempted fearlessly in it. These are really big differences for me. That's what speaks to me a lot. When we know that a goal is worth going for, courage has judgment and carefulness as allies, even though we may be moving against the tide of popular opinion or belief. Really like all these points. Really, really like those too. Pardon me. Yep, judgment and carefulness as allies. I think I was just talking about that on doing the research and looking at a situation before I choose to act on it with courage. So I've taken these other steps, like I'm coming more equipped to this situation I need to go through, or this adventure I need to embark upon. There we go, that's more fun. And even though we may be moving against the tide of popular belief, that is huge for me. I am... if you've been watching my videos for a bit, I'm sure you've learned I am a bit of a unique little snowflake. I am not your average guy. And so typically what comes along with that is being easily misunderstood or not very understood in general, or doing a lot of things the way that normal folks won't do them or go about them. Moving against the tide of popular belief is pretty much the story of my life. So that resonates a lot. And so that's a tricky balance too with this is, and again, so then courage is using common sense, using judgment and carefulness. It's still important to then take that input from other people. Very important to still take it, really hear and try to understand what they're saying and what those opinions are. And then having the courage and the confidence in your decision and say, I appreciate it. Thank you for all that input. I don't agree, and I'm going to go this way instead. And then having that courage to support yourself and have your back as you choose to go through that. Last line, I am overcoming my fears about setting and working toward goals. It helps me to remember courage is fear that has set its prayers. Yep, I think that's just become pretty ringing true for me. Overcoming these fears and working towards goals, these things, like, they're just something you kind of always work at as a human being. There's, you can always learn and grow and develop more on these things. And so that's something I do for sure. That last line is cute. I like that. Courage is fear that has said its prayers. That's another good reminder too for me. And then last, I just wanted to say, I forgot earlier, but That's why, where's my camera? So you can try to see this a little bit better. That's my first, how do I get my arm in here? That was my first tattoo, was a lion. And so this is obviously a tribal design, which is really funky, but I got it to represent the lion from The Wizard of Oz, because he's always looking for courage. Oh my God, I loved that character so much. I connected with him so much, because you have the big, attempted big, proud, strong lion, and everyone's like, oh my God, it's a lion, and he's got no courage and he's scared all the time. I was like, yeah, that's me. I mean, look, like, I got my mane rocking right now. I gotta get this coming out a little bit more. But yeah, totally. That was like, I was like, yeah, that guy understands me. We're gonna be friends. So that popped out a lot for me. So yeah, back to what I was saying. This topic is a big one that stands out for me a lot. And it's clearly close to home for me. It's something I'm just going to be working at for the rest of my life. And it's become not only a very important part in recovery, because doing and working recovery takes a shitload of courage. And what we have to do to truly get and stay sober and abstinent is a whole world of work that people who don't go through it just will never understand. You can't explain how much work this is. So there's that. The second piece is, after we have done all of that work and have built and gained a life in recovery, it's then building that into the life you want. What are things you've always wanted, right? Again, I'm not just getting sober just to get sober. I want to get a better life out of this deal. So how do I get a better life out of this deal? And that takes a whole other world and a whole other kind of courage. So they've been wildly applicable to my life in recovery, my life in general. So they just really stand out for me. So for me, that's a great topic. That stuff got me really fired up. I hope it resonated for you too. Please put down in the comments what stands out for you with this. How do you feel about the topic, the reflection, anything we've discussed today? Would really appreciate your input. Love hearing the comments. And those comments, those shares could help somebody else. So please put them in there. That's the whole point. If you're liking this topic but still feeling kind of like stuck, I don't understand, Lucas, I don't know, I do recovery coaching with folks. So please send me an email, lucas@spotlightrecovery.com. I'd love to chat with you and see if there's a way that I can help you build some more courage to build that life and that recovery you want. Okay? And also in the description are all the other ways that Spotlight Recovery can help you. We got a bunch of free resources in there. Recovery coaching videos, a podcast, blogs, a network. There's all this stuff, so go check it out. And if you like the concept of this channel and the organization, please consider supporting us. Donating, becoming a member, getting some merch. You've seen me rock the merch the past couple of days. I gotta get some more. It's great. All of those steps really help us out a lot. Okay? And then I guess last, the YouTube thing. Subscribing so you don't miss a video. Liking it if you like it. And share it with folks if you think this could help them too. It all goes a long way. Okay? So thank you for joining us. I hope you have a blessed 24, another great day sober, full of courage, and we'll see you again tomorrow. Bye for now.